The Blue Flame, issue number 2. Vault Comics continues to impress me with all their outings. I like this company. I hope they make it big and do some cool stuff. I love that all these independent companies are starting to just be like, yeah, creators, make your shit. We love it. Bring it out. Let's get what we got going on here. Cantwell, a guy I'm very impressed with. I don't think he's have a book come out recently that I've been disappointed in. I really enjoyed what this issue was. And I think this is where I was like, okay, this is Star Trek. This is so Star Trek heavy. This is like classic science fiction. Just in the making. We are watching something so spectacular happening here. And I will say, this is chapter 2. And it opens up, there's like a QR code you can scan it. It's going to give you like an original score by Aaron Fisher. I played it. I didn't know what to expect. It's a little softer than I was expecting, which I'm like, okay, now I get the theme of this book. This isn't like some weird space opera. This is the tale of a man seeing the importance of humanity and like dealing with those facts, which I think is very exciting. So there's the QR code. Listen to some cool tunes for a minute. So we open up this book and we follow Dee, who we saw in the first issue. She's getting ready to go to work, and she's hearing all over the radio everywhere going on that there was this big shooting at the car event, and like 17 people were killed, all this crazy stuff happening. She gets to work. It's all everybody's talking about. They're looking on the news, and they see that every member of the Night Brigade, which is the group of superheroes we saw in the last issue, they were all killed. All 5 of them were killed, and they're not revealing the names yet, but she's kind of just like over it and trying not to focus on it. She's getting out, and when she's going to work at the grocery store, there's a guy there, and he's like, yeah, I guess the death toll went up to 24 now, and it's basically like they got the shooter and everything. She's just kind of getting sick of like talking about it. And it's kind of confusing if she's like actually feeling hurt about the actions happening, or she's just like, I get it, people die, that's humanity, run its course. Which is kind of the theme of the book, is that like we're destined to fail. I think that's kind of interesting. So we cut back to the Blue Flame. He is still locked up in this prison. He's trying to figure out what to do. And we see a flashback to earlier where he tried to escape, but he got dragged back in. And then we see that Yarrick comes in to talk to him. He's like, you tried to escape? Yeah, I did. It's like, well, you probably shouldn't have done that. You're not really like locked up here, but like you are kind of stuck here from a certain perspective. And you got to remember that you were chosen. And basically, it's like Samuel is the name of the Blue Flame. He's trying to figure out, what am I doing here? Why was I the one chosen? Like, what is actually happening in this that made me go here? So we see Xerox is like, well, I guess I can show you some stuff. So they go to like this weird consciousness, and they're seeing what really is being represented here. And the idea is kind of, I think it's kind of like, you know, the Federation of Planets kind of thing. And it's like, it's just like a system of consensus. It's just like, I think it's the, like, you know, Federation of Planets. That's what it's supposed to be like. And like all these planets in the solar system and the galaxies that have come together. And there's like over 400,000 of them that accepted the terms of the galactic consciousness or consensus. And you're just like, okay, what does this mean? What is this trying to say? And basically, what this consensus does is decide, is a planet worthy of being here? What is its purpose for joining this? So we see that the planet they're on now, which they call Cam Terran, which I like. Cam Terran spelled the way my name is spelled, which I think is very fun. It's just like looking through all this stuff. Like, and then we see that Yarrick is like, this planet went through a huge disease, and like it was just like a genetic disease that was engineered to like affect certain people, and it killed like 1/5 of the population. It was like thousands of years ago, and it killed way more people than your First World War, but now they are part of the consensus. And the idea is like, over time, this planet learned to heal its wounds and become better for it, because they did something that humanity has not been able to do, and that is change. Which again, there's a big theme of like classic science fiction in that idea that humanity is destined to fail itself, that we as humans are destined to fail and we can never really change our ways. That's in Star Trek. That is in so much original stuff. I love it. You know, I talked about Star Trek when I talked about the first issue. It's just because I'm in the rewatch still of the original series. I'm just like, it's on my mind, and I'm just thinking about, this was probably an inspiration for that. You could get Kirk vibes from Samuel here, which I like it. So we see Samuel is like, try to find a reason that humanity and Earth can change, and maybe the consensus will help it. Don't forget, if you fail, you'll be stuck here. Your whole planet will be erased. Just like I failed to represent my planet. So we see Yarrick's lost his planet because he couldn't do what he's now doing for Earth. So we cut back to Dee. She is headed home. She's talking to Mateo. They're just watching the news, and we see like a newscast of like the reporter talking about like, okay, I guess we're We don't really want to release the information about the Night Brigade, but they seem like important people, so we're gonna like release their names, and we see them all come up. They see that it's Samuel Brossom, and we realize that Dee is Samuel's sister, and she starts to freak out, like, what's going on to him? And then we get some information that he is not dead, but he's only in critical condition, and he's the only survivor pretty much of this whole shooting. So Samuels is back in his cell. Now he's walking through the libraries, actually, I should say. He's walking through the library. He's trying to figure out, okay, I gotta get some catalog information to figure out what I can learn about Earth's history on this weird planet. So he talks to the librarian, and the librarian just goes, oh yeah, we got a section for Earth right here. Just a bunch of 4 boxes, you know, in the span of the universe. All of Earth's history that's important and essential to determining if it's a valuable place is in 4 boxes. I think that's great. Probably true. Interesting stuff. So we see the librarian leaves, and Samuel is going to decide, does he go through this to figure out what it is? And he's trying to look at these discs that are inside the boxes, and he thinks, maybe I'm on one of these discs, and maybe I should figure out what really is going on here. We see Dee and Mateo trying to race down to the hospital. She wants to get in to see her brother. We realize he's in critical condition, but they remove the bullets, and he is okay. He's going to need house care for a bit. But, you know, it's like, can we do that? And we see that Dee's like, okay, I'm taking care of him. That's my brother. I'm going to take care of him. They had a fight a few years ago, and they haven't talked since. But that's her brother. She's going to keep him safe. And I think that's kind of cool. Then we cut to this event that we don't really have a specific time period. We see Samuel's watching a rocket take off, and he's staring over to this kid, and this kid is just like, this doesn't matter. Like, this event doesn't matter. Like, when we went to the moon and shit, that doesn't matter. I went missing in 1981. No one knows how I died, but I did, alone, and no one ever found me just because they stopped looking. Human history is really about people like me, the forgotten victim of our evils, and deep down you know that. And this kid is just saying to Samuels, keep searching for the answer to why humanity can be saved. We can't. We are our own worst enemy. We are always going to destroy ourselves, and we're just going to be the forgotten victims of our evils. I'm like, that is deep as hell, man. It's accurate too. Like, that feels very likely, very realistic, where you just forget about it and move on to the next thing. Like, I think it's going to be talking about when it comes to this shooting, how Dee was already just like, yeah, I get it sucks. But now that it's affected her personally, things are taking a different turn. And just like, oh man, this is science fiction. I love it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. So we see he puts down the disc and is like, there's got to be more. Like, that's not humanity. There's more to humanity than just that. Like, that's not what I need. I got to find the answers. What is it? What can it be? What is something in life we can't live without? And he opens another disc, and he sees himself on the operating table, pretty much on life support, with Mateo and Dee watching him. And that is where the book ends. And I just like this a lot. This is good stuff. This is really fun. The designs are great. The artwork looks great. The story is so intense and fun. I could read this forever. I really like this book, and I'm excited to see where this story is going to go. It's just one of those stories in comics that you're like, this is inspiring. This is fun. It's uplifting, but it's dealing with such dramatic themes that I just love every second of it. This is a good book. I recommend going to check it out. If you haven't yet, it is worth your time, it is worth your money, and it is worth reading. So, The Blue Flame, issue number 2, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.